Okay, so we're looking at experiment 4 now, animal painting, and I need you to think about animals at the moment before we start actually doing any craft. And I've got some pictures of some animals here because we're thinking of the different textures of their skins and everything. So I've got some lovely cats here, some short-haired cats and some long-haired cats. So obviously the long-haired cat is going to feel different from the short-haired cat, but they're both going to be nice and smooth. The same with dogs. I've got a short-haired dog and a long-haired dog, and they're going to feel different. You know, it's going to feel different running your fingers through the fur, and on their skin it's going to feel different because of the length of the hair. Whoa, now some of you might go, ugh! But I've got a snake and a lizard. I like snakes. I don't have a problem with them at all. And despite what people think, they are very dry. They are not slimy at all. They're not rough, but I wouldn't say they're smooth either. And lizards, again, they're dry skinned, but they can be a bit rough. This one looks as though it's a bit rough on here, but it looks as though it's a bit smoother underneath on the belly. But that's sort of made up of little scales rather than anything else. What have we got next? Oh, some birds. We've got a robin and a duck. And of course they're feathers rather than fur. So again, there's going to be a different feeling to them. But I imagine they're going to be quite smooth and soft. Because I don't know if you know, but if you've got if you've got an old-fashioned duvet, not so much these days, but they used to use feathers from the soft baby-like feathers from a duck to stuff eider downs with, and that's why they were called eider downs, because it was an eider duck and it was the down feathers, the really soft ones underneath, that they used. So again, you got a different feeling if you were running your fingers through that to a dog or a cat. What have we got next? Some rabbits and some guinea pigs. They again are going to be soft, but I would imagine that the guinea pig hair is going to be a little bit harsher, a little bit less soft than the bunny rabbit hair. Okay, and what have we got next? Oh, some different animals. A rhinoceros, an elephant and a tortoise. So the elephant and the rhinoceros are going to be dry skin, but they're going to be not very soft, and they're going to be quite rough. And I don't know if you can see, but the elephant is quite wrinkled and the rhino is quite wrinkled in a way. They has to be dry to cope with the conditions they live in. And obviously the tortoise is a shell rather than actual skin, so that is definitely going to be hard to the touch, and it's going to be quite sort of rigid and rippled. You can probably see the ridge lines there, so that's going to be quite different. And if you look at his feet, his legs there, they're going to be quite different and quite hard to stroke. What have we got next? Oh, a lion and some monkeys. And again, their fur is going to should be nice and soft, but I would imagine that the monkey hair is a little bit harsher than, say, a dog hair or cat hair or the lion hair, because it's got to keep things off them while they're swinging through the trees and everything. It's, you know, they can't get things stuck to them, otherwise it'll get in their way. And then we come back closer to home again. We've got a donkey and a cow. And a cow does have fur, but it doesn't really have fur. It's more like skin. So it's soft, but you wouldn't be able to run your fingers through it. And a donkey, they're usually soft, and you can run your fingers through that, and it'll be all nice and fluffy. And then we have a horse and a pig. And again, a horse has hair, but it's usually very short, and you can't sort of get your fingers through it, but it will be nice and soft, especially when it's just been brushed. And a pig has hair, and that would be quite coarse, again, to stop things sort of sticking to it. And then lastly, we have a goat and a goldfish. And the goat has fur, hair, and I'd imagine that's quite harsh as well, not that soft, because again, they're climbing through bushes and things and out in in the grass and they don't want things sticking to their fur and getting in the way. And I know you don't normally stroke a goldfish, but I just thought they are something different, and they have scales. And if you could run your finger along them, they would probably be not soft. You would probably get that ripple effect as you ran your finger along it. So there's all different types of animals and different types of skin and fur to look at. So we've prepared our work surface. We have got our newspaper and or our black plastic bin bag, or we've got our plastic tray or our metal tray, whichever we're allowed to use. We might have the paper tablecloth or a plastic tablecloth if Mum's got those, and she'll let you keep using it for while you're doing the craft. So that's that bit. And if you've been able to download it from the internet, from the YouTube, you'll have this outline, this template of animals. So you've got a person, a crab, and they'll be hard skinned, so that would be rough, a cat and a bird. Okay, so the idea is that you colour these pictures in, or you can get a piece of paper of your own and draw whatever animal you want and paint that. And the idea is you paint, but again, if you decide you want to use crayons or felt tip pens, please do so. And they also suggest, if you can get one from Mum, that you use a sponge to paint these with, and poster paints would be easier. So I've got a sponge here, and it's got a harsh bit on the back, but this is the bit you need. This is the soft bit that you need on here, and I am going to cut it, because if I want to, I've got 4 colours of paint here, and if I want to use all 4 of them, I need 4 bits of sponge. Because the idea is, if you use the sponge, you get the different effects on the pictures to make the fur and the feathers. You can use your paint brushes. There's nothing to say you can't, because that could give, if you can get a nice line, that could give the perhaps effect of feathers rather than fur. So I'm going to use a little bit of blue on my bird so that I can try and make feathers. I think we've got it a bit thick maybe, but the idea is for me just to stripe it hasn't worked quite as well as I wanted it to. But what I was trying to do was get the brush, actual marks of the brush on there, so that they would look like the lines of feathers. But never mind. Perhaps you can get Mummy to print you off another one if it doesn't go as you want, or you can do your own. So I'm going to do the crab next, and I'm going to do that in orange, and I'm just going to jab it on, and I am going over the lines because it's a little bit difficult to do it otherwise with the sponge. So maybe you want to cut your sponge up into smaller stripes so that you can see the picture better. Right, now what should we do for the pussycat? And I've got somebody come to see me. I've got a pussycat coming in, a real live one, coming to see what I'm up to. But hopefully he's not going to get in the way. Are you, pusscat? I'm going to come across. Okay, so where did I put my other paints? Did I put them away? I did put them away. Right, because there shouldn't be any reason why you can't use these ones with your sponge as well. It just means that you've got to make this sponge wet first. So I'm going to see if I can do a brown pussycat. I'm trying to use just the edge of the sponge. And it is doing it a little bit better. There we go, there's my pussycat. And I might just draw some bits on that as well. I think he's actually sitting with his back to us, being very antisocial. But I can probably change that and make this his front. I'm going to give him an orange ear. And where's my little paintbrush? So let's give him some green eyes. I know they're not done properly, but as I've said before, I'm not an artist. And I've never been any good at drawing. And his whiskers have gone a bit funny. But there we go. That looks a little bit more like a pussycat. So I'm going to have a go at the man. And I admit I'm not going to use the sponge. Well, I might do actually. Let's give him some green trousers. So I'm going to use the dark green this time. So I'm going to very carefully try and draw a line across there. Oh, he's got green shoes as well. He must have a onesie on because he's got green shoes as well. Got carried away there. So what colour top shall we give him? Let's give him this nice one that we haven't used yet. Because, you know, we're only suggesting that you use sponges to do these paintings with and these crafts with, but they're totally up to you. And you, if you wanted to use felt tips, there's no reason why you can't do it using felt tips. But I think what it is to give you a chance to use different things, to use different ways, to explore the different ways you can do things. Using paint and sponges and paintbrushes. If you're going to draw your own picture, then you can draw it as big as you like, and if you do sponges, then that's going to work very well, because you'll be able to have more oh, come on, a little bit more on that. I'm just going to give my man some brown hair. And he's going to have blue eyes, big blue eyes. Nose. And a nice smiley face. So there's my templates that I've coloured in, and as I say, you can colour them in up to however you want to do it, and in whatever colours you like. But as I say, the idea is you can try using a sponge. So use whichever piece of paper you want. And what could we maybe draw? But when you've done what you think is enough, put your drawing to one side, clean your paint brushes. The sponges, you can either rinse them out, because you might decide at a later stage you want to do some more sponge painting by yourself. Clean your paints up or your felt tips and put your work surface covering away so that you can use it again.